Counting the years is something we typically take for granted, but seldom do we stop to remember that every time we mark the date, we're actually declaring the birth of Jesus. You see, Jesus' birth was so important that it forever changed the way we keep track of time. A long time ago, people measured time primarily by watching the movement of the stars. They assumed that time was determined by the continual cycle of the constellations, spinning around the earth like a circle without end. When God first revealed himself to the Israelites, however, he taught them that time wasn't like a circle, but was like a story that had both a beginning and an end. Time was actually the stage that God had set for his story. And like any good story, it too has a climax, and that was the birth of his son, Jesus, at Christmas. That means the earliest Christians knew that Jesus' birth marked the most important event in all of history. So in the year 525, a Christian monk by the name of Dionysius came up with a system of numbering the years that used Jesus' birth as its starting point, and he attached the letters AD to each year. AD refers to the Latin words Anno Domini, which means the year of our Lord. There was no internet or TV back then, so it took a while for this idea to catch on. But by the year 731 AD, an English monk by the name of St. Bede wrote a history of Christianity in which he started using Dionysus' system. And soon after that, people everywhere were beginning to mark the date according to the years since Jesus' birth. It wasn't until much later, however, that people began adopting a new term to refer to and count the years before Jesus' birth. By the 1600s, people were commonly referring to these years with the familiar letters BC, or before Christ. By the 20th century, the world was quickly becoming a global community, with rapid travel and worldwide communication making it necessary for people around the world to have an agreed-upon way of keeping track of time. So in 1988, the International Organization for Standardization, or ISO, made the BC AD calendar system a globally accepted way of marking the date so that the whole world could share a common calendar. Today, some people are trying to replace BC AD with the forms BCE, which means before Common Era, and CE, which means Common Era, as a way of removing reference to Jesus. But you see, Jesus' impact on our world can never be erased. All you need to do is ask the question, well, what separates the Common Era from before the Common Era? The answer is still the birth of Jesus. Jesus is the light of the world, and his coming was the most important event in all of history, because it marked God's arrival into the world to save us from our sin. Jesus will return one day to be our King forever, and then the whole world will know that he is Lord. Until then, we have an opportunity to tell other people how Jesus, the Son of God, has changed the world. One easy way to start is by asking them what year it is. When they tell you, just say, "Isn't it amazing that the way that we keep track of time puts Jesus Christ at the center of history?"